This is a study skills tutorial to help you get organized because as we have learned here at Bishop Gorman, the more organized you stay, the better you perform in class, the better you perform on tests, the better grades you get, then the better results you have here as a Bishop Gorman High School student. Because we are implementing the use of the iPad this year, gone are the days of stress over what books do you have, where did you take those notes, where did you happen to write down your homework on the corner of what notebook. Instead, you can stay organized all in one electronic place. The two apps that we're going to be using in order to stay consistently organized on our iPad are the Reminders app and the Calendar app. So take a minute and make sure that you can locate both the reminders and the calendar on your iPad. The first app we're going to look at is the Reminders app. If you open the Reminders app, you'll see on my screen that I've got a bunch of lists that you won't have already. We're going to add lists by clicking in the bottom left-hand corner. You can add lists to your iCloud. You probably won't have BGHS, that's two accounts that I have, but you will have an iCloud account to add lists to. So we're going to create a list for every period. The first list we're going to simply call Period 1. And notice that you can color code the periods below, so pick a color for Period 1. And then you're done with this list. If you go back to the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to add a second list in the iCloud. Obviously, this list will be called Period 2. Again, after you put Period 2, you're going to pick a color for Period 2. It should be a different color than Period 1, and click Done. Then we're going to add a third list for Period 3. So you'll add a list to the iCloud, title it Period 3, and you're going to pick a third color for Period 3. Color coding lists is going to help you stay organized. As we keep going, we're going to keep adding lists for all 6 of your periods, periods 4, 5, and 6. So if you keep following along with the screen, I'm going to add period 4, give it a different color, be done. Period 5, I'm going to add a list for, pick a different color, and then I'll click done. And period 6, I'm going to add a different color for, and then I'll pick done. Obviously, you can go back and rename these the specific titles of your classes if you know you have English 1 first period, but for the sake of ease now, we're just going to title them period 1 through 6, and you can be done. I just want to take a minute and make sure right now everybody at least has 6 lists, one for each period that they've created in their Reminders app. Let us know how you're doing. If you have any questions at this time, we can pause the video. So moving forward, we are going to edit this list by down at the bottom clicking on edit because you'll see they're not in the right order and you'll see that some of them are color coded incorrectly. So by moving the tabs, they look like 3 lines on the right hand side. You can drag, tap, hold, and drag your periods in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I'm done editing all 6 lists, so I'm going to click Done at the bottom of the screen. I do want to edit one individual list, so I'm going to click on that list and then click on a different edit up on the top right corner of the screen just to edit that list. And there it will let me edit the color or even rename the list. Once again, I just want to take a minute to check on our status, make sure everybody's doing okay. And at this point, if we need to pause the video, we can. Now we're going to experiment with adding some assignments to our list. So you have to pick one period at a time. I'm going to tap on period 1 just so I bring up my period 1 list. And then I would tap anywhere on the white item in period 1 to add to period 1. In this case, because we're using it as our planner, we're adding assignments. So a little bubble popped up. That'll be where you put the little check mark when you finish this assignment on your period 1 homework list. So you would just type in a homework assignment. I'm going to type in the words homework assignment. And that is my homework assignment. I can click Done, or I can click on the little I and add a whole bunch of extra features that you never could have been able to do in a regular paper and pencil planner. I'm simply going to type in a more specific homework exercise to make the example a little bit more relevant. After I've got my homework assignment with the exact exercise I'm going to do typed out, I click on the little I to the right, and here are the details to customize the alerts for each assignment. So notice the first thing is we can add a reminder. So I turn the reminder on, and this is going to send an alarm to my iPad to remind me the assignment's due. It's important to note that a reminder should happen before the assignment's due. You don't want to be reminded that the assignment's due the minute that it's due. You need to be reminded ahead of time to do your homework. So if the assignment is due on Friday, you should probably set your reminder for Thursday. If your assignment is set for Monday, maybe you like to do your homework Friday, right at 3 p.m. when you're done with school, so you don't have to do anything on Sunday night. You can then set a priority, meaning is it really important that it gets done, or is it a long-term assignment that you have more time to complete? You can make sure it's in the right period. Obviously, if it's a grammar exercise, it should be attached to period 1, which is ideally your English class. And finally, you can put some notes on that assignment. This will be especially important now that we're using the iPad, because a lot of assignments are going to have multiple components. So for example, you might have to complete an assignment in your grammar book on iBooks, but you might have to submit those answers to the Google Drive or to turnitin.com. And obviously those assignments will come directly from your teacher and they'll explain to you how to do that. But once you've done those details, you can click done, and now you've got a really specific assignment set up for grammar exercise 1 through 5, not just in your planner written down with paper and pencil. So to summarize how you'll be using reminders, you should have a list for every period organized in the left, and in each of those periods you'll be adding assignments with extra details to remind yourself, and the best part is when you get to check them all off and you're done and you can move on to the next assignment. So we're just going to do another check here to make sure everybody's doing okay. They've got reminders set up. They understand how to add these assignments, how to set the details. We can always pause the video now if anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns. Moving on to the second app that we are going to employ for study skills, we're going to the iCalendar app. So take a minute and find your iCalendar app. You may or may not have anything in your iCalendar the way that I do, but you do want to be looking at the month view of iCalendar. So by clicking on calendars at the bottom of the screen, you should be able to add calendars. I've already got some calendars. I've got more than one account, but you can very easily add a calendar in your iPad on your iCloud by clicking Edit. When you click Edit, you'll see the word Add Calendar appear. And when you add that calendar, you give that calendar a name, and you are going to have one calendar that you call Academic Calendar. So you're going to name one calendar Academic Calendar, and you are going to pick the color blue for that calendar. So you don't have as much freedom here. You have to have a calendar that says Academic Calendar, and it must be the color blue. Then we're going to add a second calendar. The second calendar is a little bit more of an exciting calendar. It's called your social calendar. So you are going to title the second calendar a social calendar, and you are going to color that calendar orange. So now you will have created two calendars, one blue, one orange, one for academic dates and one for social dates. And we're going to give you those dates a little bit later after we show you the benefits and features of iCalendar. And then you can click done. Take a minute to double check your spelling for these two calendars that you need to have created, the academic calendar and the social calendar. Academic is blue, social is orange. Note that you do not have a BGHS calendar account. That's for teachers. Calendars will simply be in your iCloud calendars. So we are at the halfway point now, or maybe a little bit further. I want to take a minute, make sure we're all on the same page. If we need to pause the video, let us know, and we can do that now. Moving on, we're going to start adding events to our calendar, and these are just to see how to add the events. We'll give you the list of all the events. The first event is coming up on Monday, and it's the first official day of school. So to add this event, from here, we're just going to tap and hold on the 11th on the calendar. You can start typing in the title for the first day of school. You could give it a location. Obviously, it's at Bishop Gorman High School if you wanted to. It's an all-day event. It doesn't have a specific time that it stops and starts. It's all day on the 11th. If we continue to scroll down, there's a lot of other features we can use. Particularly the one I'm concerned about is the calendar, because you want to make sure the events you add are on the right calendar. And the first day of school is going to be on your academic calendar. So take a minute and make sure you change the calendar for your first day of school. You can change any of your other settings and then click done. Mine pops up twice because I already had it on there once as an example. You should only see yours once. The second way we're going to practice adding in events is by clicking the plus sign in the top right-hand corner, and it works almost the same way. This time, the event we're going to practice adding is the first school mass. So if you type in school mass, again, you could put the location, make it an all-day event, and now you have to select the date that it's on because you didn't tap directly on the date on the calendar. So this school mass is going to be on August 15th. That's next Friday. And then you'll see school mass. Notice it's the same color. That means I did something wrong. I put it on the wrong calendar. It should be a different color. So if I go back and I see that it's on the wrong calendar, I can edit this event and change the calendar down towards the bottom to the school mass, and that's going to be another academic day because that affects our academic calendar. So now you'll have an event. You could delete it entirely and start over if you really mess up, and click done when you've got school mass on the academic calendar. And once again, you'll see it on there twice. So I know I've done it right. You'll only see it on there once. There's a whole bunch of academic dates as I scroll down my calendar that we are going to momentarily give to you. Just taking a minute to make sure no one's entirely too stressed out. You do need to be able to add events to calendars, multiple calendars that you've created. So if you have any questions about that, please ask them now. We can pause the video if needed. Our final component involves the notification center, which takes the calendar, the reminders, and sets them all up in your settings. So if you find your settings app and click on it to open your settings, on the left panel, you want to search for Notification Center. So mine's highlighted in blue, and the Notification Center will appear on the right. If you scroll to the top, it says Notification Center, and it tells you that the Notification Center appears by swiping down from the top of the screen, which we'll demonstrate later. You want the Notifications view to be on and the Today's view to be on, so make sure all these buttons are green. Same thing with the Today's view buttons. You want all these green buttons to be on. They probably already are, but let's just double check. Specifically, obviously, the calendar and the reminders you want on, because that's what we just set up to use as your planner for your notification center. Because every time you swipe down from the screen, you'll be able to see them. Notice all the other apps you could possibly download are in the notification center, and you can go through those settings on your own when you get the chance. We're concerned about the two that are going to be a part of your planner. If you click on Edit on the top right corner of the screen, you'll be able to click, hold, and drag reminders by clicking on the three little lines to the right of it, and that'll just place it on top of the calendar day view, which makes it more accessible in the notification center, and then you can click Done. So once you have set up your settings, we can demonstrate the notification center by going back to the home screen. You don't have to be in the home screen, but it's easily done from the home screen. You're just going to pull your finger down from the top of the screen, and your notification center will appear. You can do that in any app in the settings, and you'll see your reminders. Remember, we created that reminder that we had homework for grammar, and that your calendar will pop up. There was nothing on our calendar events for today, so there's nothing in our calendar there. You do, however, see that this homework assignment you could check off right there if you got it done, so you don't have to go to the actual app itself. And then you can slide back up, and if you go to the reminders app, your assignment is gone. If for some reason that's a mistake, down at the bottom you can click on Show Completed, which is very obvious. It will show you the completed assignments that you have done. And if for some reason you didn't mean to click that, you can unclick it. Not to mention, you now have a permanent record of all your homework assignments, so there's no confusion on what you did or didn't do. As we wrap up the video portion of this training, I just want to make sure we're all feeling okay. This is not meant to overwhelm you. It is a little bit of setup in the beginning, but it's meant to keep you organized and have you do better here at Bishop Gorman. At this point, you're going to be given some time to experiment with some of the apps or to go back and fix anything that you might need to fix in your reminders list or in your calendars. Up on the screen, we are going to project a list of all of the important dates you need to add to your academic calendars and your social calendars. Obviously, throughout the year, we'll be adding more dates to the academic and the social calendar. I want to remind you that I am Miss Saline. I am the Director of Instructional Technology here, so I can be found often in the library at the iPad help desk if you ever need any help staying organized. Miss Dixon is our Spanish and French teacher here at Gorman, so she can be found in her classroom as well if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I want to thank you for working through this video with me and for your patience. If you're struggling through this video, we'll be around to help you. I hope that you are as excited, maybe a little bit apprehensive, about using your iPad this year in class, specifically to stay organized, because it's a great tool that you never could have done anything like this before with pencil and paper.